Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of building Diamond Fair in Planet Coaster. So in this episode we are working on that dark ride that I briefly mentioned in the last episode. We're doing like a robo coaster, so you'll see actually here, before I do the robo coaster I actually work using like the trackless dark ride to try and fit like a big, long, interesting layout dark ride. It doesn't really matter about the layout and stuff though, to be honest, because it's not going to be seen. I'm not going to put details or anything around the dark ride because it's easier just to have it in like a building, have the building be covered up, and it just not being be visible to anyone who's looking at the park from the outside. Obviously, if you were to zoom into the buildings and go into the interiors rather, you would be able to see the dark ride. But yeah, so like what I do though is I go back to using the robo coaster. For those of you who don't know, like robo coaster is like the Forbidden Journey dark ride. It's not really a roller coaster, it's just a tracked ride where a robotic arm goes around and like sort of moves through the scenes. So this one is called Diamond Mines. It's a weird name, I guess, because it's not really a mine, so to say. It's more like just like the idea is that like there's diamonds underneath the theme park and you're going through like the mine of the theme park, like the rocks of the bottom of the theme park to like explore it, and maybe there's like a creature down there or something that's going to like attack you and you have to escape, something really basic like that. But yeah, so that's the sort of idea behind this ride. You can see I built like a pit for it because I wanted it to be underground a little bit to make most of the space, because it leaves me with like space on top of it to build. So on top of the warehouse that I eventually build, I can build like maybe another roller coaster or some more rides. I'm not too sure yet what I'm going to do with it. But yeah, so that's sort of why it's in a pit, so it can be sunk down. It doesn't take up too much space then. The ride itself is very compact. You can see like I tried to make most of the space I had available to sort of build in. And then you can also see here now I'm adding the queue line, which again was quite difficult to add. I didn't want it just to be like a normal queue line, just like again I'm trying to make the most of space, so I just put it up in the air, and it interacts quite well with like the facades that I build around it. In this episode you'll see them as well. You'll see so you can see it, I don't know if you've seen it yet, you might not be able to notice it really, but on the right hand side of the screen at the moment there's a blue building, or sort of like turquoise colour building, which is a Hat's Fantastic, and I build like a couple of buildings along the front of the warehouse in a similar vein, in a similar sort of style as that one. So that sort of like covers up the warehouse, so you can't see it from the park basically. Like real theme parks do this, or real amusement parks do this. They try and disguise their warehouses because they look a bit ugly, with just buildings that look a little bit nicer to look at. So like I said, the queue line for this ride is implemented into those buildings, and I think it just makes it look a bit more fun. Like, it's quite fun to walk down a path and like see people queuing and stuff. Seeing people get excited for the ride and entering the queue and stuff. And like I said, you'll see the entrance and stuff as well for the ride as well, which is also incorporated into the facades I'm about to work on. I also had to build this really long priority pass line because I couldn't get it to fit in any other way. In real life, the priority pass line probably wouldn't extend around the outskirts of the dark ride, or the outside, whatever the track layout. Instead, there'd be like a short link from one bit to the other. But I couldn't fit that in, so I had to build like a massive one to sort of confine with Planet Coaster's collision detection and stuff, which is not the end of the world. It doesn't really matter, no one's going to see it. So you can see here we're working on our first facade, which is just a really small store. I couldn't really fit much else in here, so I just put in a Looney Balloons. It's not much, like I said, it's just a small store. And you can see actually I've skipped along a little bit here because I forgot to record some bits. Now we're working on like the queue line on top of the building. So you can see here we're adding like the fences. I often use like the in-game fences, I don't like to use the auto fences that the paths generate. I just don't think they're very I just don't like the look of them, and it doesn't look like you put much effort into it when you use those. So that's why I like to use like the fences they provide and just place them myself. I just think it generally makes the rides look a little bit better, makes it look like you put a little bit more time into it. So yeah, that's why we've got these fences going on. And you can see I'm just placing those and making like the queue line on top of the Looney Balloons building. I got rid of that Looney Balloons sign actually. I didn't like it. It was a little bit it just didn't seem that place. I'm going to have to I might have to make some sort of like theme sign for that area or something, because I don't know. I don't want it to be go unbranded because again that doesn't look very good. But you know, I just didn't like the Looney Balloons sign. But it stays there for the time being. But eventually I do remove it. So yeah, so I'm completing off this. I call it a queue house. I'm just putting the floor down. I do just some trims, and I put some lights into the trims as well, I haven't done much lighting for this park yet. There's still a lot of lighting to do in terms of adding lights like around the park, like pathways, so that the park looks good at night. I want to light up some of the roller coasters, and obviously light up like the buildings and stuff. That's not been done really too much. There's a few lighting features in place, but nothing too major. So that's something I'll come back to and look at it all depends really, because it depends how well the park's performing at night as well. It's sort of something I want to look at last, so I can get the park like looking good in the day, running well in the day, and then maybe coming back to do like the nighttime sort of stuff. I don't know if that's going to be something that I'll definitely do, but it's something I want to do. So yeah, like these are the lights that you can see added to the front of the building, like these neon lights. And then next to it we've got this big white building taking place, or taking shape rather. And this is just a game stall. So inside it, I haven't added the game stall yet. I've added just a little simple interior, just like an open sided interior, just so you know it just shows where the game stall is going to go. It'll be something really simple, like a bucketball game or like a dolphin derby or something like that. I don't know yet. I'll make it myself and I'll add it probably in an episode in the future, but it will come. And then next to that we build like the entrance building. So before we do that, inside the queue line, I do a really simple lighting structure. I do like really simple lighting inside my buildings. I just add bars across the ceiling, and I add lights to those like wooden beams, bars, beams, whatever you want to call them. And I do that for all my buildings really in Planet Coaster. It's just really simple and quite effective, and it's kind of realistic. I'm sure if I was to do like other type of like, if I was to do proper like interiors, which I don't, my interiors are quite simple. I just sort of build like a simple interior so it like looks like it could be real. But if I was to go more in detail with interiors, I'd probably mess around with the lights and stuff. But I'm more about exteriors, especially for this park, and for big projects like the interiors. To me, I can do without, only because it just saves like resources and it means the game will run a little bit better. And also I'm a little bit lazy when it comes to it. But yeah, so this is the entrance to Diamond Mines, the Robo Coaster, the dark ride. It's kind of futuristic-y. Like I said, I want the ride to be like a futuristic-y sort of setting, but it's still like a mine. These hexagon shaped things were quite cool. I thought they were quite cool lights that add to the front. I wish I had like some diamond shapes, but the hexagons were still quite cool. It still sort of gave the effect I wanted it to do. So yeah, and then there's just like that big curved building. I don't know. It's just quite a cool entrance. I'll also get the ride sign up and stuff. You'll see that in a second. I'll add that. I add that to the top of the building actually. I had like a sign for the ride, so it's like a big grand entrance, because it is quite a major ride. If you're going to add like one of these to your parks, it is going to be one of the main attractions, because they're very expensive, I imagine, to build a robo coaster. To build a ride with a robotic arm with its train and have like what 10, 15 of those trains, cars or whatever you want to call them, running around the track, it's going to be a very expensive ride, including, and then you add on all the detail for the scenery and the theming and stuff. Yeah, so I thought it deserved quite a grand entrance, and that's what it got. And so yeah, so this is really building the facade up. It looks quite nice now, I think, personally. The white building could probably do a little bit of work, just a little bit more detail, but other than that, I quite like the front of the warehouse. It looks better than just having like a big grey warehouse, at least anyway. So yeah, that's sort of it for this building, and then we move along into the next one in just a minute. We just finish off like trimming and just adding a few details inside the inside queue, just so when you look into the building from the outside, it looks like there's something inside it. But then it just sort of goes into a massive mess when you get into the back of the building. But like, as long as you can't really see the massive mess from when you look from the outside of the building, I don't mind. It doesn't really bother me too much. I know some people are different. Some people would rather have everything just like fully detailed. But for me, it's not a massive deal. And yeah, so sorry. Instead of I said we were going to go on to the next building. We don't actually. We finish off this warehouse, which we build the warehouse, and like I said, it's quite low. So I buried a lot of the ride into like a pit. And so it like sort of saves a bit of space on top, so like there is like possibility there to build something, whether it be like a roller coaster, a bunch of flat rides, a tractor ride. I'm not too sure yet. I haven't worked out what's going to go on top of that warehouse, but it does leave me with options. Again, it allows me to build the park really compact like I want, and just make use of all the space available. Yeah, so now I think we finally go on to this final building. I think after trying to place a few signs and them not working, here we go. So this is a exit for Diamond Mines. Again, it's a very basic building. I want to put a photo booth in there, I think, as well. I haven't done that yet. I haven't added a photo booth, but I think it needs one, just sort of so the building serves some sort of purpose, because at the moment there's just like a gift shop in there, and like when you see it finished, the interior is a little bit plain. So yeah, if I could just add like a photo booth or maybe something similar inside there, just so it gives the building a little bit of purpose, I think it would work quite well. And of course on top as well we have more of the queue, so like a bigger part of the queue. And I just basically went for the same thing I did with the other part, just like a sort of a queue line you can see from the outside, because I just think it's quite cool to be able to look in and see people queuing. Like, so, you know, I didn't want like all the queues to be inside like enclosed, because I want you to be able to look in and like see that actually people are queuing for the rides and stuff. I just think that's quite cool. It's quite cool, like I think I've already said it in this video, but going around the pathways and just like looking up and seeing people queuing for rides and getting excited and stuff. It's just one of those interactive things, like, yeah, I don't know, I just think it's quite a cool place to have a queue line on top of the building. Yeah, so you can see we're just going in and adding some like minor details to the to this exit of the ride and like this gift shop. and just sort of like knitting up the area a little bit, adding some of the more pathways, adding some of the fences again. We have a lot of fences to add. A lot of this episode is me adding fences all around the rides. Sorry, all around the queue line. Like I say, I like to use the in-game fences instead of like the auto fences on the queues. And in fact, I don't actually build the whole of this queue bit outside. I sort of cheat a little bit because I got a little bit tired of placing fences. So instead, I build like a building around a lot of it, so it's all sort of hidden inside. So I don't have to worry about too much about detailing like the staircases and all the queue line. Instead, I can just sort of focus on the front part and just have the back part like hidden up by just the building itself, really. And obviously, I just added a roof here as well to the warehouse, so you can sort of see the size of space we've got there, which is probably enough room for like a smaller coaster, or maybe part of a roller coaster. Maybe like there's a roller coaster that wraps around the front of the park, a bit like Gatekeeper. I see the point. I could have like a big sort of element go over the front of the park. I'm not too sure yet. I haven't really got. I mean, I've got some ideas. I know what roller coasters roughly I want to add. So I want to add like maybe 2 family coasters, because we haven't got a lot of family coasters. I haven't got a lot of family rides in the park yet. So yeah, I want to add some family rides. I want to add a few more dark rides. I think I've decided I've set on like maybe like 3 or 4 dark rides. So I know in amusement parks like this, maybe it's not that common to find like really high themed, like really expensive dark ride hardware. But I think it's just quite cool. I think it'd be quite cool to have some dark rides and stuff, and just like lots of stuff going on, lots of rides. So like the park can fit a lot of people in, like has a high capacity, and lots of stuff for everyone really. And that's sort of it for this episode. I think we just get this roof finished. Just to sort of finish off the front of the park. Finish off the sort of whole facade area. We just get the roof finished. We just finish, like, we neaten up the building a little bit, get some of the trims done, and that about finishes off the time lapse. And I will just like sort of be back in a bit to talk about the rest of this. To talk about what we've got built. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you very, very soon. Okay, so let's have a little look around and see what we've got done in this episode. There's a few things I didn't put in the time lapse actually. So there's this big sign here it's like sort of like an advertisement for the ride almost. It's sort of annoying because it sort of almost looks like it's trying to advertise the big 4D coaster in the back, because you can't really see the coaster past this sign. I didn't really think of that until I'd done it, but since it was all connected to the green roller coaster, now called Extreme Scream, or the Extreme Scream rather, I just sort of thought, like, because the whole sort of thing is connected to the Extreme Scream, I decided that it should probably advertise that ride. It's also like doubles up as the emergency evacuation / like sort of maintenance area for the mid-course brake run, which actually doesn't work. The mid-course brake run is non-functional on this ride because it's very annoying, because I can only run 1 train. I did open the park as like a test, and yeah, it completely failed. It didn't completely fail. I don't know why I said that. Well, actually, the park did completely fail because it was way too busy and the paths were absolutely filled with people. But the ride can't run more than 1 train, and the queue gets absolutely massive for it, which is a bit annoying. But can't be helped. Another thing, I did accidentally delete the whole station building for Extreme Scream. And I did that by, I don't know, it must have been connected to like another scenery piece somewhere else. And I deleted that scenery piece, not realising that it was connected to the whole station. The station then got deleted. I built some other stuff, and I couldn't like undo enough to get it back, which was really annoying. So I've actually had to rebuild the whole thing, including like the underneath section, a little bit of the underneath section, which is a bit annoying. Which in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done as detailed as I did. I mean, it's not insanely detailed, but you can see like I added a bit too much detail in there because you can't really see it anyway. But anyway, so I deleted the station building. But yeah, so I had to rebuild it, and I've not finished rebuilding it yet, but I'm probably just going to make it pretty much the same as it was, because I quite liked that station building. But yeah, sorry, that's sort of a little bit off topic where we're supposed to be. So yeah, going back to this area, yeah, you can see like I've done sort of the infrastructure area for the like infrastructure parts of the area. I made like all the fences to stop people from walking into the ride areas. I've done the pathways and stuff down into the entrance of Diamond Mines, which is obviously the main feature of this episode. The entrance area is just here, you can see. Sorry, I'm just trying to get like a good view of it. Yeah, there we go, which is quite cool. I like the entrance, I was quite happy with that. And then you've got like the sort of gift shop thing going on underneath here, which I'm going to add like a photo booth to, I think. So you can buy photos there as well. So it looks like it has more of a function than just a sort of a plain interior at the moment. And then obviously you've got the queue up the top here. Most of it is enclosed, like this part is enclosed obviously. And then as you come along here, you've got like a bit more of an exposed area. I like the fact that like the rides that they have people queuing for them. It's quite cool to walk past like a midway and see people queuing for like a ride on top of you. I don't know, it's just quite a cool image in my head. Seeing people like being excited about to get on a ride and you're going to join that queue or whatever. I don't know. I think that's quite cool. And then obviously just the hat's fantastic at the end here, which I didn't put in the time lapse. This is just a simple building again. I do a lot of my stalls like this. I like to have like an open front, so it means like you don't have to do like insane detail on the interior, but it does look like there's something in there. Like there's like a functional shop in there and stuff. It's the same with like all of them, as you can see as you go around. It's just my way of doing buildings. I mean, there are people who go like insane with the details on the interiors. I just don't like to do that. One, because I'm quite lazy, and secondly, it just runs resources basically. And then moving on, we go over to we go back to the facades over here. Like I said in the time-lapse as well, I had a game stall built up again that's not got anything inside it yet, but it'll be something quite simple like a bucket ball or something. Just a simple game stall. And then in terms of everything else, that's sort of it for this episode. I added some fences around here just as like a realistic thing, just to stop people from walking onto the tracks here. And that's it really. I think there's not much else that got done in this episode. Next, I think we'll be working on the 4D coaster a little bit more, getting like I keep mentioning it, but like a transfer track section done, finishing off the supports and stuff, doing like a queue line, doing a station building, and sort of connecting it to this building here, because this building looks very weird at the moment. It's very plain and very boring, and it's supposed to be an entrance to like a big ride. So this sort of area we need to get worked on. So that's the main focus for the next episode really. And also I need to sort of sort out this exit ramp as well, because it looks a bit weird. Another issue I faced actually in the last episode was the fact that I wasn't going to be able to. I wanted to do like netting underneath the roller coasters. I've decided that maybe like a better option would be, it's sort of the lazy way out. But because I don't want to like sort of ruin the views of the roller coasters with just like loads of nets everywhere, I've decided that and it's a quite controversial policy, but I've decided I'm going to build like a sort of a metal detector section just before you get on the rides, where you have to place like nothing in loose belongings, no loose belongings basically can go on the rides, so nothing in pockets and stuff, which basically like eliminates the risk that something could fall out of pockets onto people on the rides, which I think is probably like the best way to deal with it. Just because I don't want to put nets everywhere, and that's just sort of like a cheap, easy way / realistic way of getting out of it. But yeah, that's it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll be back as soon as I can with something else on my channel. So thank you very much, and I'll see you very, very soon.